Chris Landry on your radio, Mondays 4 to 4:30. LandryFootball.com, also on X at Landry Football. Chris, happy Monday, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, Jake. How are you doing this Monday?
Doing good. I don't think yesterday disappointed, and the Super Bowl's got a lot to live up to beat yesterday's drama. And let's jump off into that. I do have some college. I want to ask you about a couple coaches, but NFL, center stage as of yesterday. Let's go with the first game. Were you surprised at what you saw? Of course, Lamar Jackson taking some heat again for not playing the best in the biggest moments, but your thoughts on that ball game yesterday with the Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens?
I'm not surprised that the Chiefs played well. I'm not surprised that they won. I was surprised of the offensive game plan for Baltimore. Completely perplexing. I think I just, Todd Monken, who's done a really nice job there, obviously former Georgia offensive coordinator, was completely outmatched in this game, and he had no answers. And this is what I worry a little bit about at times. Experience in pro ball and coaching in the NFL, it's different than in college. You win in college in December and February in recruiting. I mean, you can, there are things you can do to augment and help you, but in the NFL, when you get playoff level, you can get out coached and out schooled. And they ran the football 6 times. This is a team that's built around the running game. They didn't attempt to run, and it wasn't like they were out of the game. It wasn't like the Chiefs scored 30 points. So they had no quick game. They had no running game. And Steve Spagnuolo, who's phenomenal and one of the great defensive coordinators of our time in big games, I mean, he's the guy to remember that basically put the game plan together to beat the unbeaten Patriots and Tom Brady in that magical run that they had. And I saw that firsthand in Arizona. He did a fantastic job. They played a lot of nickel. They played small. They played fast. And, they got away from the running game, and they didn't have any quick pass game. They were in deep drops. That's not what Lamar Jackson's strength was. It was almost like, we're going to show you that we can throw it from the pocket and beat you that way, instead of, we're going to win and do what we do best. And I just thought it was awful, and I thought they really did a disservice to that offense, because I thought the defense hung in there pretty well. Kansas City is so well coached. They've got the best quarterback around, and they didn't score a ton of points, didn't need to. That's a perfect example of adjustments. I go back to Kansas City on Christmas Day, getting beat by the Raiders, and they had no answers, and it was awful. They were dropping balls left and right, and you saw the game against Buffalo and how they had made the mistakes at the end. But they regrouped. We're going to run the football. We're going to rely on our defense, and we're going to play off of that, and then that's going to open up and let the passing game breathe. And here they are in the Super Bowl. In a year where it was, what are the Chiefs going to do? That was the question I got asked all year long is, what? They can't catch the football. The tackles can't protect. Here's what we're going to do. This is coaching. Coaching 101. We can run the football well and play defense. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to slow down people's pass rush because they're going to have to defend the run first. And then that will allow us to kind of build on that and get the passing game going. And then guys like Kelsey and even Marquez Valdez-Scantling making a couple of big plays, Rashid Rice picking up. It's just, whereas the Ravens have been consistent all year long, but then they get to the biggest games and they're ill-equipped in a game plan that, quite frankly, gave them very little chance to win. And they still had opportunities. I thought they were undisciplined. I thought they got frustrated. Thought they made way too many mistakes. They had 3 turnovers. But they didn't play well from a sideline standpoint and on the field standpoint, and the Chiefs' experience showed and coaching showed.
Chris Landry on your radio. Make sure to find him on X at Landry Football. Check out the website, LandryFootball.com. Always great stuff, NFL, college, inside the lines, outside the lines, everything at LandryFootball.com. All right, so Chris, you're sitting there and you're watching Detroit. It looks like they're just going to run away with this thing. And then everybody's going to circle the 4th down call by Dan Campbell. And there's a lot of criticism to that. Are you in that camp? Or I'll be honest with you, when I was in real time, I said, this is the call. Like you go ahead and you try to put this thing away, or was that ultimately the wrong call?
Well, a couple of things. And I've learned this in the league for a long time. And coaching in college for a while, as I mentioned, it's different. When you get in the NFL, you got to do two things in playoff football. You got to coach your team and you got to coach the game. And I think people miss the coaching the game part. See, I thought Dan did what he felt he needed to do because that's how his team is built, and that's fine. It's what's got him to this point. But I thought after dominating in the first half, and by the way, it could have been worse. It could have been 28, maybe even 34 or 35. So, I mean, but they had a almost flawless first half. You get into the second half. If people say, well, you shouldn't coach different with the lead, you absolutely have to coach different with the lead. You have to. It's a game of football with a clock, and you don't sit on the ball, but you have to be smart and you have to be really prudent with your decisions. I thought it was a little risky for me. Up 14 with a chance to go up 17. It's not the 3 points because look, you could have missed the field goal. Just like they missed the fourth down conversion. When you miss a field goal and you miss converting on a fourth down, that's the same thing as a turnover. That's the same thing as a fumble. It's the same thing as an interception. I know field position may factor a little bit into where those things occur, but it's a turnover in any way you look at it. I think if you go up 17, you go up another possession, then you're in a position to where you eliminate any form of momentum boost from San Francisco. And that's where I think they were fighting. Now, by going for it, no question. They convert it, they go down, eat some more clock, even though it's early, get a field goal later or get a touchdown. It's probably out of reach for San Francisco. And that's what he's trying to do. He's going for the knockout punch. So I get that. I understand it. But I also think you have to look at his team. His team was not able to defend the pass. And I think the only thing was the high pressure in San Francisco not really getting in sync offensively helped their cause a little bit. But I think they felt like he couldn't trust his defense enough, as well as they had played to that point. He wanted to put them away with his offense, which that was the strength of Detroit's team, and they dominated San Francisco offensive front in the first half. So I understand his move. I'm not overly critical of it, but I would have done it differently. I would have kicked the field goal to add another 3. And because at that point, it's not like San Francisco at that point, Jake, was making its run. Kick a field goal, we get the field goal back. You get me? I mean, it's a big momentum shift that I think that he missed. That's what he missed because in his mind, that's what he's doing. That's what got us here. That's what we do. By God, I'll put it in the – I get all of that. Nothing wrong with that. But if it doesn't work, then you open yourself up to the fact that was that the smartest thing you do? Now, would you do it again, Dan? Well, he'd probably do it again. At some point, he's got to realize that coaching playoff football games in the NFL is different, and you got to protect that lead. And when you got a team down, yes, you could put them away with that fourth down call, but you also could put another 3 on the board and put another nail in the coffin and make it more difficult for them to punch out. I just think that that's the part that I see more than just the 3 points is stop the momentum from, or eliminating any possibility of a momentum shift, which was all Detroit's in that era. And then, look, there's other things. You got an interception that just dropped, hits the face mask, and Ayuk makes a great play. Then you come back and fumble, and when that started to happen, it was you felt the onslaught at that point. It was like a snowball going downhill, and it wasn't going to be stopped, but it could have been stopped earlier, in my view.